does it mean to be human during these digital times and rare times, but also familiar times that we are in? You may hear some background noise. I do not have fancy headphones or microphone. I'm sweaty. It's real time in nature, going for a walk, and I'm completely in rare form. However, this conversation felt alive to have. And so if you are tuning in for the first time and hearing my voice for the first time, hey there, powerful soul. I'm Cassandra, and I support overachieving leaders who are in the public eye to have a life that looks and feels like heaven on earth by supporting you to have private self-mastery that matches your public success. And we are living in really interesting times right now. For some of us who were born in certain time periods, we are the rare generations who have experienced both worlds, before this hyper digitalized world and this world that we're in now. And over both my tenure of being on these internet streets and being a human for over 4 decades on this planet Earth, okay? Just living life. I have seen some things. I have navigated some things. I have walked through some things. I have experienced some things. I have seen some things. I've been a witness to some things. And I believe we're living in times right now where people are remembering what it means to be a freaking human being. That we are not just what we do. We are not just the results that we can produce. We are not just titles or labels or outcomes. We are so much more than that. There's so much nuance and depth and complexity with being a human, beyond any other species, because of the faculties that we possess that Creator gave to us. However, I'm finding so many people forgot that during this digital era, and they're remembering now, which I'm really thrilled about, because now maybe we can have a world that is better and is more humanity focused. However, it's going to take a beingness for all of us to collectively come together to create that reality that I think deep down in our souls, most of us want to see. Most of us want to see heaven on earth in our lifetime. And heaven on earth is not just for a select few or the elite. Heaven on earth is, in my humble opinion, for the good of all. And when you are driven by metrics and performance and profits and achieving and succeeding, sometimes you can lose sight of that. Sometimes you can lose sight of why you even started, because for many of us, we didn't just get into a profession or seek to achieve something or to excel at something or to succeed at something or to become financially successful at something for our own selves. We had other people in mind. We had communities in mind. We had cultures in mind. We had a bigger vision beyond ourselves. But when you're in the day-to-day grind, sometimes you can lose sight of that. And then you can find yourself going left when Creator told you go right. I have a post about this. I'm wearing a long purple dress and I'm kind of sitting sideways. If you want to check that out after this conversation, I talk about what the path of destiny requires. And even though you have created success for yourself and you've achieved things that most people pray for and hope for and wish for, destiny looks a little bit different. Destiny is a divine purpose, a divine calling, a divine mission. And it requires you to not bypass what makes you human. And a core part of what makes us human is our nervous system. Having a nervous system. And because as humans we have a nervous system, there's also a collective nervous system in humanity where we can interact with someone or interface in an environment or an atmosphere. And have you ever walked into a room and you felt the vibes were off, the energy was off? Have you ever had an interaction with someone and you felt something was off about their presence? They may not have necessarily said something, they may have not necessarily done something, but you felt it on the inside. That's what I'm talking about here. We are collectively feeling a shift. We are collectively feeling something shift, and we're feeling it in here first. We're not feeling it cognitively in our thinking mind. We're not thinking about this shift. We're feeling it. We are experiencing it. And when you feel something and you experience something, it's happening in your body temple on a nervous system level. But something happens when one person is present and one person is disconnected. Something happens when one person is in their ego and one person is present. Something happens when one person is regulated and another person is dysregulated. There's an option that you can choose from. And I believe the invitation for humanity collectively is, can we co-regulate together collectively rather than constantly dysregulating and triggering everyone? Now, I want to give an example inside of my work. I talk about the superwoman who is in survival mode and the supernatural woman who is in this sovereign vessel. And colonized religion will tell you that God is the only sovereign being, but Creator also gave us free will, which means that there's a level of sovereignty that you have to even make a choice that is for your best interest, that you're not self-sabotaging or self-abandoning or self-betraying yourself. And so when I speak to the superwoman who can get into survival, you do not have to be struggling on paper for your nervous system to be in survival. In fact, it's because of your ability to push through. It is because of your ability to make things happen. It is because of your ability to defy the odds and to go against status quo and to still accomplish and achieve anyway that can put your nervous system into a state that is survival. And it is that dysregulated state that is breaking down people's body temple. It is that dysregulated state that disrupts your sleep, your peace, that causes ruptures and fractures in relationships and in your physical health. And I have been seeing this collectively. Recently, there was an announcement that a politician here in this country has made an announcement that she has thyroid cancer. And now they're saying that this politician had access to information that was very alarming, but she never said anything. And when we look at energetics, because I've been trained in traditional Chinese medicine and the ancient Eastern arts, I understand the energetics of what she's experiencing. When you do not speak truth, when you do not speak what you've been given to say, you start to hoard that dense energy in your throat. We're using this woman as an example, and for her it showed up in the form of thyroid cancer. So when I'm looking at this from an energetic view, I'm not surprised, because she censored herself. She censored herself rather than speaking truth in the position of power she was able to have. When God allows you to have a position of power, when God allows you to be in the public eye, when God allows you to be in powerful rooms, it's not just to tickle your ego. I find a lot of people like to get their ego tickled. Okay, we're not children. Although the sacred text says to be childlike, you're not supposed to be childish. And a lot of people tend to get those two confused. Childlike is to still believe in the wonder and the awe of life, to believe that anything supernatural can happen at any moment, that we can experience miracle moments at any moment. But to be childish is a state of consciousness. It is a state of mind. It is where you are behaving like your 5-year-old self, your 7-year-old self. And so I imagine this woman probably has a 5 or 7-year-old little girl trapped inside of her, where someone told her, shh, be quiet. What happens in this house stays in this house. Don't rock the boat. Don't disrupt status quo. Just show up, do what you've been told, and then go home. And because of that, she has cancer here. That's one example. Another example, I have been seeing throughout this entire year peers inside of this online space, whether if it's they're in personal development, they're business coaches, there's some type of coach making these announcements of having to take long-term sabbatical leaves. Now, what I have been discerning is the energetic burnout that has happened from pushing through. I shared 2 weeks ago a prophetic warning on pushing through. And something happens when you continue to push beyond your human limits. Because we are human beings, not human doers. And when you keep pushing and pushing and only using human force alone to succeed, to accomplish, to achieve, one of the consequences is energetic burnout. I received a call about a month or so ago from a peer who had to take a long-term leave from work because of this, where her body temple literally shut down. Okay, this is not something to play around with. I shared my own personal story in the stories feature, and so I highly recommend, if you're not connected to me, that you press the follow button, you add me to your favorites, and you stay connected with me through the stories. I tend to share stories in the stories, because that's what it's for, right? Stories in the stories. Hello. Anyway, my mother, always in a manager role, always leading, to the point where it's becoming regional director type of roles. And over the years, I watched her push through until the point she had a massive stroke in her 50s that left her disabled, where she can't even walk without assistance. She can't bathe herself without assistance. She can't do a lot of things for herself that she used to do without assistance. And the very thing that she had attached her self-worth, her identity, her self-image to was work has been taken away. And so when we forget what it means to be human, we're also forgetting that we're not superhumans. And when you operate from that state, you're operating from a dysregulated survival-based nervous system, and that can only last for so long. Now, when we look at the supernatural woman who has a sovereign nervous system, this means, inside of my work, I call this holy harmony, where the yin and the yang aspects of herself are not at war with each other, rather they are in unison. The sacred union dwells within her and her beingness. She is in holy harmony within herself. What I love about the Eastern philosophies is they gave language to what English language describes as the feminine and the masculine. And we see this across neuroscience. We see this across epigenetics. We see this across psychotherapy, where they use different languages to all describe the same thing: the yin and the yang, the feminine and the masculine, dysregulated and regulated, over-functioning, under-functioning. They're all saying the same thing. You are not in harmony with your human self. And when you keep pushing through from that state, you are going to put yourself at prey for something that you could potentially not recover from. This is serious, especially as we become seasoned women, where many of us have had careers for decades, been on this planet for decades. Some of us have mothered children. My son is in his 20s and he has a whole bachelor's degree. The body temple keeps the score. And when your nervous system has not been recalibrated for the season that you're in currently, I call this being internally current. You leave yourself prey for compromising your peace, your sleep, your physical health, your mental health, beautiful, thriving, healthy, fulfilling relationships, prosperity, and more. I believe the reason the supernatural woman experiences a life that looks and feels like heaven on earth because of this. She has a sovereign nervous system where it's in holy harmony because she knows how to honor being a freaking human. She's not trying to be out here being a superhuman and use human force and will alone to create everything else that she wants. That is not the way. And so you see right now, I'm out here in creator's creation and nature because that's one way I fill my own feminine cup up. So I'm not running on E, so I'm not depleted, so I'm not over functioning, so I'm not overwhelmed. And I've been that way since I was a little girl. Since I was a little girl, I loved being in nature. I loved being in creator's creation. I felt closer to creator in creator's creation. But now we have these big buildings everywhere, and we have these devices, and we have these screens, and we have these digital apps. And this is not to shame you. This is to bring awareness to how much of your life have you actually been present for? Are you just letting your life pass you on by as you keep raising the goalpost and moving the goalpost, that no matter what milestone you accomplish and achieve, you keep moving it to the point where you never became internally current. You never allowed your nervous system to catch up with you. So what does it mean to be human in this digital age that we're in? I think about something Prince said years ago when he gave a speech after accepting an award. And he said, use the computer, but don't let the computer use you. And we see people coming online sharing dysregulated opinions, sharing dysregulated reactions, sharing dysregulated critiques. I just made a post today for she who has been in the public eye and hasn't felt peaceful inside. It's actually the most recent post. It's written. You can go check that out. And I talk about what it was like for me as someone who had public eye experience beyond these internet streets, in actual public media, on stages, in the front cover of a magazine, on a commercial for a publicly traded company. So you're going to want to go check that out. When you do not bring your internal self current to the reality you're in now, you leave yourself prey for operating on human force and willpower alone. And I have both witnessed and experienced the consequences of that. It is by the grace of God I am alive. I will say that again. It is by the grace of God that I am alive. Because I would push through and push through and push through because I knew how to do that. Because it worked for me in a season of my life. It worked to help me survive some things in life. It worked for me to achieve some things in life. It worked for me to accomplish some things in life. It worked for me to overcome some things in life. But it got to the point where I kept pushing through that my nervous system was still in the past and my body was somewhere else. And now you have split timelines on the inside. And your brain and body are not working together as one. And I see that happening all over some of the examples I just shared. And so what it means to be human is beyond your achievements and your successes and your accomplishments and your bank account balances. It's beyond the success that you have on paper. What it means to be human is, can you be so present that you can feel the breeze on your skin? Can you be so present that you can hear the whispers of the Holy One saying, not yet, daughter. Just pause. Be still. Can you be so present that you can hear the sounds of nature and it feels like a soothing balm to your soul? Can you be so present that you don't miss your beloved's cues for connection when they reach out for you? Just taking a breath and allowing that to land. Allowing your body temple, your nervous system, your consciousness, and your psyche to remember the ancient ways of what it means to be human. You are beyond and more than what you do. And I know that you have to hold it all, and sometimes it can feel heavy holding it all, but I'm here to say it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. And I have learned that sometimes when we're holding it all and it feels heavy, is because we're holding it all alone. And we're not allowing Creator to carry it with us. And that's my role as your guide, to support you in navigating that private self-mastery alongside your public success. So having it all doesn't feel heavy when you're holding it all. If you know a powerful, overachieving, seasoned woman and leader who would find value in this conversation, if you would tag them. And I want you to pour into them. Because you don't know that she may need to hear it. There have been days on my journey where I just needed to know that I mattered as a human. Beyond the glamour, beyond the success, beyond the achievement and the accomplishments, I just needed someone to pour into me and to share with me that I mattered to them. And so if you know a woman like that in your life, tag them and pour into them and share with them how much you value them and how much they matter to you beyond what they have done and accomplished, just simply for who they are. And if you are she who has it all and you've been holding it all and it's been feeling heavy, then reach out and let's have a conversation about how either the Supernatural Woman Inner Circle or private advisory could be the next best step in supporting you. Sometimes what's next for you isn't another strategy. It's a supernatural self-mastery, and that's what I'm here for. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your presence. And if there's something specific that I shared that landed and resonated with you, please share. I'd love to hear from you. And I'll talk to you next time. Take care now.